welcome to my channel. I'm Shavana, and today I want to give you some travel tips from an airline employee. So I do work for an airline and I travel a lot. And for my credentials, I have flown 51 flights this year. So I have a few tips that might be helpful. So let's kick it off. So starting at the airport, I think it's really helpful if you get something like TSA PreCheck or Global Entry or Clear. They all just help you get through security a lot faster so that you can get to your gate and you don't have to get there 3 hours early. Also, if you're getting at the airport 3 hours early, I've never been in a TSA line that's longer than like an hour and 20 minutes. So just a heads up, maybe you don't need that much time. Actually, I don't even think it's been an hour and 20 minutes. I think I've stayed in a line for like 40 minutes in TSA. Give yourself time, but don't give yourself too much time where you're bored. Number two, if you're traveling a lot, I highly recommend, looking into some way to get airline points or club and or club access. A lot of credit cards will offer both things, so I think that's a really great way to travel because then you have access to the lounges and you don't have to buy food every time you're in the airport because the lounges do typically have like a buffet style of food, and then also it gives you somewhere quiet to sit and rest. And then if you get airline points, you can use those towards future travel and trips. Also, hotel points is another great way to utilize travel perks or travel points. So highly recommend that. My next one is to make sure you book your hotel in the area that you want to see. I made this mistake when I went to London. I was like, oh, the hotels are significantly cheaper by the airport. I can metro into the city and then come back. Well, yes, you can do that, but it's nice to have your hotel in the city area that you're in, because then you can go back to the hotel and take a nap or a rest or change or whatever you need to do and then head back out in the city. When I was so far away from the city, I just went back to the hotel and went to bed. It was really inconvenient. I think I would have enjoyed my trip a lot more had I booked in the city. So it might be a little more expensive to do that, but I think it's worth it. My next one is not to book the most expensive hotel. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful and it's really fun to stay in nice hotels, but if you're going somewhere to explore a city and not necessarily just like hang out and like relax, which is great too, I think has a time and a place as well, but if you're going somewhere to see someone, like to see a place, go there and don't spend a lot of money on the hotel. You don't need the biggest and best hotel to see a pretty city. I personally, what I look for is something that's safe and also something that is clean. So that's kind of my parameters when I look for somewhere to stay. Yeah, for me, that's fine. I don't need to spend a lot of money on the hotel as long as it's safe and clean, because my plan isn't really to spend a lot of time in the hotel. I want to be in there to like sleep and get ready and shower, but most of my trip, I want to be out exploring. I want to be out seeing the place that I am there to see. Another one is Airbnbs. I think Airbnbs have really awesome places to stay, and so you can find a lot of good spots on there. But I also think, and this is so underrated and so unknown, is that Airbnb has Airbnb experiences, and I have been on a good handful of them now. I've been on a lot of them now, and I have loved almost every single one. No, I have loved every single one. I've been on some really cool Airbnb like experiences, and what I really like about them is it's a small group. It's typically not a lot of people, and it's somebody who like is local to the area, and they're just doing this, to like show something or do something that is like around their space, and I think that's so cool. So what I've found is like I learned a lot about the place that I'm visiting. The experiences on there are pretty unique. It's not like the biggest tourist thing or anything like that. I highly recommend checking it out, and if you can, I would book those like towards the beginning of your trip, because they can give you like, hey, well, you're here, you should see this or you should do that. They can give you those tips and tricks, and you can ask them questions. So I think that's really a great way to make use of your time. Something that has become like a staple of mine is looking on TikTok. And that sounds so cliche, but there is so much on there, and it's such an easy place to find kind of hole-in-the-wall places and different spots you wouldn't find regularly in those places you're visiting. I have found really cool like places to see and visit, not only in places I've visited, but also in like the place I live. So don't scratch it. It's a really great like search engine. You can make a little collection of like that place you're visiting with all the videos. And it especially helped me when I went to Japan, because Japan has a lot of like different cultural like things. And so I learned all of these like cultural things about Japan before I went there from TikTok. Like they don't like, they're quiet on their trains, and when you go to a restaurant, you're not there to like converse and have like a conversation. You're there to eat, and it's pretty quiet, and then you leave. You don't want to hand somebody money. You put it in like a bowl. Anyway, you get the point. Like I learned so many things just from like watching that and like learning, and I like it because it's quick, right? I don't have to like take hours out of my day to like learn these things. The videos are typically very fast. If you are going somewhere where they don't speak a language that you speak, I recommend learning like those common phrases in that language. So like hello, thank you, sorry, excuse me, bathroom maybe, stuff like that can be really helpful. And those are the phrases I find I use the most when I'm traveling. And then to go along with that, have Google Translate on your phone and pre-download the language when you have service, if you're not going to have service out or whatever, of the language that you need, because then you can translate it. And the cool thing about Google Translate is you can put your phone over like a menu and it will translate it in the moment. So you can like look at like a menu or a sign or whatever and like know what it says. So highly recommend that. I would also say don't be afraid to ask for help, but don't ask for help by the one person that's like in the vicinity. So you want to be safe about it, but also don't be afraid to ask for help. So like if you're in a busy area, ask somebody for help, you know? I recommend going maybe to somebody who's working to ask for help versus just somebody on the street, but you never know. I usually will ask somebody who's like working at the store nearby or the restaurant nearby if I need directions or help for something. My next one is to use public transit. Public transit is really, really great in a lot of the cities I visited. And it's not hard to navigate, and it's a lot less expensive than getting cabs and Ubers and stuff like that. So, and it's cool because you get to feel like a local, you know? But my tip for this is to use the transit button on your maps. So it works on Apple Maps, it works on Google Maps. So when you go to put in like a destination, just switch it to transit, and then it will literally give you step-by-step instructions of like the places you want to go and which train to take and which exit to get out of the train and where the connection is. It literally tells you everything, and it's amazing, and it's worked in pretty much every city. No, it has worked in every city I've went to. It's worked in Europe, it's worked in Japan, it's worked in Australia, it's worked in every US city I've been to, so highly recommend checking that out. To go along with that, make sure you have international data. So if you're going international, your phone's not gonna work unless you have set up a data plan of some kind to work overseas, and don't skip on that, okay? It's great for safety. It's great to get you around. I think if one person in your party has it, that's good. If everybody wants it, that's great. But I don't think, I think at least one person in your party that you're traveling with should definitely have data. And there's a couple ways to do it. You can do it with your phone plan. You can do it with a SIM card in that location. And then there's also apps. They're called like eSIM and stuff like that, where you can download the app and pay for international data that way. I haven't personally used it, so I don't have a lot of personal experience with that, but I've seen a lot of positive things when it comes to that, so check it out. If you're traveling with one other person, I would recommend booking the window and the aisle seat on the aircraft, because it's less likely that somebody is going to want to pick a middle seat than like another aisle seat if they're traveling solo. So if the plane isn't full, it's less likely that that middle seat will get taken. And then if it happens to get taken, you can just ask the middle person if they want to switch seats with one of you. And I can't imagine anybody is gonna say no to giving up a middle seat. So there you go. My biggest tip is to just go. Even if the place isn't on your list, even if it didn't spike interest in you, if you have the opportunity to go somewhere, go. I have on multiple occasions been like, oh, like that place isn't on my list, it's a little underwhelming, whatever. I get there, it's like my best trip ever. I loved it. It was amazing. That happened to me when I first went to DC. I was like, DC? Okay. DC is awesome. I live here now, so it's really cool, but it far exceeded my expectations. I really just thought it was gonna be like all government. It's a very cool city. Another place that was like that was Spain. Never spiked my interest, never had any interest. My friend had said, hey, you want to go to Spain? I said, yeah, let's go to Spain. I went. I was like, still like one of my favorite trips ever. I loved it there. I want to go back so bad. But I never probably would have went had she not asked me, you know? And then where else? Puerto Rico was like that for me. It was never something on my list. Brussels was like that for me. It was never something that was like, yes, I need to go there, but it was really cool. So just like, don't put yourself in a box and X out places that might be amazing. Same goes for when you get there, try the things that are local there. Don't be like, oh, I don't like that, or, you know, try it. You might like it. It might become one of your best things ever, and you might hate it, but at least you tried it. I don't know, that's my thing. A couple little things. One, I recommend just bringing a backpack when possible, or smaller luggage. It's easier to travel with if you just have it with you at all times. I personally like my travel backpack. It fits under the seat on the aircraft. I never lose it. It won't get checked ever, and I can get everywhere I need to go with it. Obviously, if you're going on a long trip, that probably won't work. And then if you're going on a long trip, noise canceling headphones will be your best friend. They just will. I think it's worth the investment 100%. And then along with that, you can get an AirPlay, and I'll have that linked in my storefront if you're interested. But you can plug it into the airplane's like headphone jack and then Bluetooth your headphones to it. And then you don't have to have cords, and you can use your own headphones to watch the movies on the plane. And I think it's really great. And like I said, I'll have that in my storefront. It's like not very expensive, so highly recommend that. Get your books ready, download your movies or whatever. I hope this was helpful. If you guys want some more tips, please let me know. I definitely have them, and definitely subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out my travels. I'll have more videos linked, and you can follow me on socials if you're interested in that as well. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye guys.